Hello, American literature students. As you finalize your drafts for your first literary analysis submission this week, I wanted to note a component of that submission process that can be helpful to you. So for all of the essays that you write, we have the option through Blackboard to run them through a plagiarism checker called Safe Assign. And so I do turn that on for essays in all of my classes. And I do it for twofold reasons. The first is to help you to be able to spot plagiarism before you submit. And there's a check mark within the Blackboard settings that allows you as the student to check your own report before you submit your essay. So you can submit as many versions of your draft as you like within the Blackboard area. I have chosen unlimited submissions. And so I always grade the last one submitted. So let's say you submit it on Wednesday and the plagiarism checker report comes back and says 60% of your paper has been plagiarized. That is your um, direction to go and revise your essay to make sure that if you are taking quotes or lines or ideas from other sources, that you are giving them proper credit. So sometimes in analyzing literature, we want to explore the internet to find out if we're reading the piece correctly, if we're understanding it, if we are missing symbolism or meanings, just to see what other people have to say. I do caution you against doing that a lot because most of the stories that we're reading, especially right now, are older and there's lots written about them. And I'd much prefer to read your own interpretation and analysis of these pieces versus what the internet has to say about them. But sometimes if you're stuck, it can give you a good starting place for thinking about the piece differently. However, if you do need to go to outside resources and find out oh, that's a piece of symbolism or metaphor that I didn't get, you do need to give credit to those sources. So you want to acknowledge them in the essay itself. So according to Spark Notes or according to this literary journal, they surmise that this is what's going on in the story. And then you need to follow that up with an in-text citation and also include that in your works cited page. So I want you to be very careful of relying too heavily on those sources that you can find online to help you interpret a story. Part of what you're doing as writers and students and critical thinkers in an American literature course is reading, sometimes rereading if you need to, and then applying the skills of critical thinking, critical reading, close reading to understanding the story more deeply. And there's always more layers than what is on the surface. So with this tool within Blackboard, you will be given a percentage. So if you choose to submit early to see what your plagiarism score is, you will be given a percentage of what matches the database. And we've been using this tool for several years. So it goes back and it pulls from other students' essays and submissions. And you might get something like 30% match. And sometimes that's as simple as um, your name. You might have submitted essays in another class that use this, my name, the course name, and the piece itself. And so there's always some kind of match just because of those commonalities. When you need to get concerned is when you see swaths of your paper that are highlighted and say that they come directly from another source. Um, Either they're word for word or pretty close matches. And you'll be able to, once you open that report, open them up and see the percentage match. And I take a look at this too. So whenever you submit an essay, I get the same report that you do, and I open it up. And if I see that it's okay, it's just the student's name, my name, a couple references to the literary piece that is being analyzed, no big deal. But if I start to see highlighted areas within the paper itself and they are not properly cited, that's where we get into hot water. So I want you to be aware of that tool. I want you to use that tool. And I want you to know that part of your job as an American literature student is to make sure that you're giving proper credit to the pieces that you're reading and the pieces that you're using to help you understand the literature. So take advantage of some of those tools that I've linked for you within Blackboard. There's a course materials link on the left that gives you information on MLA, Purdue. So you want to make sure that you're properly crediting those works. And if you do have concerns before you submit, please reach out to me and I'm happy to meet with you via Zoom or in person. I'm on campus Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if that doesn't feel comfortable to you, then we do have the Online Writing Center. Just Google that or search for that on Western's website, or the Learning Commons where there are writing tutors and they are now open in person, or you can pop into a Zoom room and meet with a writing tutor one-on-one. So those are some extra options for assistance on writing your essays and making sure that you're properly crediting them. If you have questions, as always, please reach out. Thanks.